All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long road, a long journey to get here, but here we are in the best of five series, the grand finals for the ADL. We've got Team Liquid up against Evil Geniuses. My name is Mont. With me tonight is none other than NY John. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great and so happy to be back. Of course, I couldn't cast yesterday, but I heard the games were pretty entertaining for the most part between EG and Denial, but EG taking it rather decisively, and we finally got a matchup that we've been waiting for a long time, a best of five between two of the best North American teams in Evil Geniuses and Liquid. I couldn't be more excited for this game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. These two teams, juggernauts in the North American scene. Of course, Team Liquid dispatching Team Dignitas in a best of five, going all 5 games in a pretty close series, but Team Liquid just proving that they were the stronger competitors this time around. Of course, I want to apologize for the quick delay we had earlier, just a few minutes ago. It's a little bit stormy around here in upstate New York, but that'll have to wait. Of course, Dota comes first. Team Liquid going to ban out the IO. Gyrocopter coming out from EG, and we'll see 2 more bans as well. Evil Geniuses with a unconventional, I'd say, lineup yesterday. Of course, going with Meepo, going with the Death Prophet. Not really too concerned about Denial's playstyle, and they just proved to be overall the juggernaut. And of course, they are 19-0, ladies and gentlemen, in the ADL. They have not dropped a game, including the playoffs, as well as just the league stage of the games. So, Team Liquid, they've already lost twice to EG, and this time around, they're looking for a best of 5 here, and we'll see who can come out on top.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line in this game with a huge prize pool at stake. So I think both teams are going to come out firing heavily in this first game, trying to get an early advantage and then be able to work with that moving forward. This is going to be really important to determine how the series is going to shape up. Of course, Evil Genius is going to ban out that Tree and Protector that we see IX Mike play very often. A lot of other teams have given up on the Tree and Protector. They don't like it as much, but Liquid are a team that will first pick that any opportunity they get. So it is important to ban it against them. And EG get the first pick Darkseer. So they're getting the Darkseer they want. It's going to leave a couple of heroes like the Visage available for Liquid if they want that, and we'll see if they try and go that way.
Yeah, I think Visage probably is the best chance here for Team Liquid to grab a really great support. I think Visage is one of the best out there. They're going to go for the Naga Siren with that first pick, which is surprising. Something that I haven't seen Liquid do a whole lot of. But they do have that lockdown with the Ensnare. Of course, the Song of the Siren to set up so many great team fights, and we'll have to see how that does go for them. Team Liquid, well, they'll have a pick in just a moment as well on top of that. Evil Geniuses, I wouldn't be surprised if they take the Darkseer and the Rubik. They don't really favor that Jakiro as much as teams like Team Dignitas do. I know we talked about it a lot. We see, of course, that Darkseer's like, oh, we got to see the Jakiro next, but not necessarily. Rubik, I think, could come out from EG. Team Liquid with this Naga Siren, what do you think they're going to go for next here?
Well, you brought up a good part with the Jakiro, but now Naga Siren's in play. Jakiro works just as well with her, so it really could be a high-value pick for either team at this stage. But for Liquid, I really like having the Gyrocopter and the Naga Siren because they are a 1-2 punch that doesn't require any farm between them. So even if the laning phase goes less than ideal, you have a really big initiate off of that song with the call down, starting the fight well for your team. So I think this would be a pretty good place to pick the Gyrocopter, but Liquid are a team that don't really rely as heavily on Gyrocopter carry as a lot of other teams are doing currently in the scene. So they're actually going to pick up a Shadow Demon instead, but it's interesting to note that they don't favor Gyrocopter nearly as much as teams such as Denial the other day with the Eocopter, or even some of the European teams do.
Yeah, he's kind of phasing out a little bit, of course. We see him less and less.
And he was banned out here, of course.
Yeah, so and he's banned out as well. I wasn't going to point that out, John. Listen, I wasn't going to point it.
But Gyrocopter banned.
Yeah, they do that like every game. They ban EG bans Jar like every game. I'm not even kidding. And so EG, speaking of that, they'll pick up the Keeper of the Light. And Bambo and Beatus can play that hero pretty effectively. We saw Bambo go with the Keeper of the Light last night. Beatus is a great Keeper of the Light as well on top of that. But Shadow Demon going for Team Liquid, and that is IX Mike's probably one of his go-to heroes, I think. Just so good defensively, so good offensively as well. He's got that disruption. He's got the Demonic Purge, which is really nice to have. So pretty standard drafts for the most part here. I really think that the next ban and pick phase is really going to shape how this game's played. So as we jump, of course, into this game, remember, guys, this is a best-of-5 series. What's on the line? $5,000 in prize pool, of course, is the first-place prize, as well as, of course, just, the pride and knowing that you're the best in the ADL, which is always nice to have. Syllabear getting banned out now for the side of EG. Team Liquid going to ban out the Phantom Lancer. I almost called him the Cancer Lancer there, but well, I mean, that makes sense banning him out. There is that Keeper of the Light available, so those two heroes synergize pretty effectively with one another right now. The thing is, do Team Liquid run this Naga Siren in the mid lane, or is it too early to tell, I think?
I think Naga's best potential is as a mid laner. I don't like having her in a tri lane, except in some instances where you're an aggressive tri lane and you want to get kills, because, of course, that net does go through the BKB. Maybe a lifestealer might show up in the game, and all of a sudden it's a really valuable tool to have. But usually I like her as a mid laner because she gets her levels for sure and gets pretty solid farm without contesting from the opponent. So I think it's pretty important to put her there if you can, but it depends on the matchup as well. If a strong mid laner like Puck or Queen of Pain come out, the mid lane is fairly difficult for Naga, but if it's a easier mid laner like a Dragon Knight or an Alchemist or something along those lines, then she can definitely thrive in that matchup. But Liquid are going to pick up the Anti-Mage, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a Lifestealer come out here soon from Evil Geniuses or an Alchemist.
Yeah, this Anti-Mage, I think, going to facilitate a little bit more passive play from Team Liquid, sort of that 4 protect 1 style you see a lot of the time in Dota. Anti-Mage, somebody that really requires a decent amount of farm before he can start really getting involved in fights, but he can still do pretty well in a tri lane. He can still do pretty effectively in certain fights early on in the game with the mana break, with the mana void as well. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Korok just plays such an outstanding Anti-Mage, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him play it again here. Like you said, though, Evil Geniuses could go for a Lifestealer or an Alchemist. Fear loves both of those heroes. Well, more so the Alchemist than anything. They're going to pick up that Rubik, so I talked about that earlier. Instead of picking it up at the second slot, they'll pick it up at the third slot. So, boom, right on the money on that one. We're starting out strong. And John, as you can see, we've got some good calls here going. In Team Liquid, they've got to pick up all of their own in just a moment here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Team Liquid haven't picked up any AoE on the back of the Naga Siren, which I feel like is a little bit of a missed opportunity, but they, of course, still have a couple picks where they could do so now. There's also Nature's Prophet still in the pool. So Nature's Prophet and Clockwork are two of the better offlaners, and Liquid definitely don't have an offlaner secured quite yet. So both of those are going to be in play for them, and I definitely recommend getting it before going to that last ban, because your options for things for the Shadow Demon are going to be available. You're either going to get a Lean or Electric if that's what you want, and the offlaner is probably going to be targeted. So I'd say here, just because they have a Naga, they're going to pick up a Nyx instead, but that doesn't secure an offlaner. I think now Evil Geniuses are going to be able to take out whoever they want off this option for them. So interesting choice there with the Nyx Assassin this early.
Yeah. I think you're right, too. I think that they maybe should have gone for that Clockwork. Then again, I mean, really can't speak for Team Liquid in their drafting right now. I got to say, though, if there's one hero I expect to see Team Liquid run, it would be that Clockwork. They haven't done it that often recently, but Clockwork was a hero that they played like clockwork. Pun completely intended, so there's that. But DK is going to come out from Evil Geniuses. This mid-pushing matchup coming out from EG. Of course, Dragon Knight mid with Jo. So effective, so strong, and we'll see if they can, of course, do it again here in this game.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, though. Dragon Knight versus Naga Siren. Naga Siren does pretty well in that lane, especially pre-6. Of course, Dragon Knight, once he hits 6, it's not as much of a deal, but for both of them, it's going to be heavy on the Bottle Crow, and Liquid have supports that roam a lot better between the Shadow Demon and Nyx Assassin than Keeper Light and Rubik really do, because Keeper Light, of course, just isn't one of the roaming supports. So it's something else to take into consideration when you're evaluating that middle matchup. If Liquid can get their supports in there and kill off Dragon Knight, then Naga can definitely get a sizable lead, and there's the ban on that Prophet. So that's what Evil Geniuses were more worried about in the offlane. They get rid of the Prophet, the clock is still available. They still know AoE from Liquid, though. All they have is initiate with a spike off the back end of the song, though. So they're not taking full advantage of the song. They're just using it as a basic initiation tool. There's no real follow-up yet, which is an interesting decision. Most teams predicate their lineups on the follow-up for Naga Siren's Ultimate because it is so devastating.
I'm waiting for the trump card to come out here from Team Liquid and just show us some monster like AoE strategy that they've got going for them with the Naga Siren. I mean, I might be completely wrong here, but honestly, that's what I was waiting for pretty much the entire draft when they picked up that Naga Siren. They still have a minute and 10 seconds left, so there still is time available to think about and say, well, we have the Naga Siren. Do we want to put something really strong with it? You know, what do we want to do with it here? They might just want to have the Naga Siren to use that song defensively in case they get caught out. Obviously, it's not the best use of their resources with what they have right now. And you mentioned how there's just a lot of single target. They're going to go for the Mirana, so there is potential to set up a big Starstorm. But other than that, this is a very interesting pickup coming out from Liquid.
Yeah, Shadow Demon, of course, has good synergy with Mirana. Nyx Assassin has a couple disables that will work out for her. Korok's Mirana is really strong, of course, but this is definitely a squishier lineup. You're looking at Mirana and Anti-Mage early game. They're not the most durable of targets. Anti-Mage, of course, can get in and out of combat, but Naga Siren and Mirana are going to be lacking damage early on, too, while Anti-Mage needs some farm. So I'm not really sure. This lineup isn't really here nor there for me. I wonder if maybe this is going to end up being offlane Mirana, or if they're going to make a tri-lane around it and go aggressive, that's probably the more likely thing. They put Anti-Mage as a solo in the top lane and bring a Mirana
Right.
tri-lane down bottom and really try to bring the pressure to an unknown carry at this point. And I would like that, but there's still a possibility of Lifesteal getting selected up here. And
No, he got banned
oh, he
out.
got banned in the last phase.
Yeah.
Wow, me and my bans today.
Yeah.
But so Alchemist is probably the most likely choice for them, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this because there isn't that AoE. But Liquid, of course, can pull this with the
Oh,
individual
boom.
skill, and there it is, the
You
Alchemist.
called it.
But
Jeez.
if this game doesn't go well in the laning phase, it's all going to come down to the tri lane. If it is aggressive, I'm not sure 100% yet, but it's going to come so heavily down to that. They could even put Naga in it if they'd like.
You're absolutely right. So we'll have to see how both teams decide to lane this. Fear going to be on the Alchemist, and I gotta say, man, every time I cast with you, it's just like so impressive the drafts that you get right. I mean, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room here. You see the pickups, and you're like, all right, that makes sense to have an Alchemist next. But like, it still impresses me from day to day. So good job, John.
It impresses me when I don't pay attention to bans.
Well, there's that. I mean, if you want to draw
Yeah.
attention to the other side of the coin, fine. I mean, go for it. I'm praising
Well, it
you.
can't all be good.
Yeah, that's true.
Real life
Right.
people, ladies and gentlemen, but glad to be here.
We have
and
flaws.
yeah, watching a lot of these players, you can definitely pick up on their trends in drafting pretty frequently, and of course we've gotten to see them on full display throughout the entirety of the American Dota League season. It has been an amazing experience.
You too can be like NY John if you watch enough Dota, ladies and gentlemen. That is true. So, jumping into the game, thank you for joining us. This is the grand finals between EG and Team Liquid here. Best of 5 series on the side of Team Liquid. We have Korok on that Mirana. You mentioned him being a great Mirana player there. TC's going to be on the Anti-Mage. Fluff will be on the Naga Siren, and Bulba on the Nyx Assassin. And to round it all out, we'll see IX Mike on his favorite Shadow Demon. And John, EG's all yours.
Evil Geniuses, we have them on the Radiant side. Beataz will be playing the Keeper of the Light. We have Jo on the Dragon Knight. In the Well, we have Demon on the Darkseer, Bambo on the Rubik, and that leaves Fear on the Alchemist. And I just want to note something. In the selection screen, they actually had Bulba on the Naga Siren to start, but they swapped it. So it looks like they're not 100% sure what they wanted to do with it. They're going to put it as a support, it seems, now that Fluff has taken it up, and instead use Nyx Assassin as a solo. This is a pretty crazy move. I mean, Nyx Assassin is a good solo, but it's not the best farmer, so he kind of falls off. He gets that first item like the Blink Dagger, and afterwards he just isn't that great of a hero in terms of scaling to later stages of the game.
Yeah. So meanwhile, yeah, I gotta say the Nyx Assassin mid is certainly something I did not expect to see. Right now we have some sort of issues here with hotkeys, talking about disconnecting and maybe making a remake right now. We'll have a pause for a moment at least, if not a full remake. But while we do have this pause going, you talked about how this is going to be this solo Nyx Assassin, which is going to mean that Fluff's going to be on that Naga Siren, is going to be that support, which we've seen before. We saw that in, I believe, the Dignitas series. So we'll see how it goes. Looks like we are actually unpausing right now, and looks like they got it to work. So not sure what happened.
I think they're going to remake because Fluff got bugged and used an item already, so it would be really unfortunate that to start down 100 gold.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna pause again. I'm not sure what's happening. And Bambo says in TI you're not allowed to remake. You got to get that TI mentality. So I understand where Bambo's coming from. Two disconnects coming out right now. Now from EG as well. Looks like we're probably going to disconnect here. So we're gonna jump into the FK screen real quick, guys. We'll be back in just a moment here. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is the ADL Grand Finals. We've got Team Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. We had to do a quick remake as we had a bug, of course, for the, swapping from the side of Team Liquid. But everything seems to be okay right now. We are going to jump in the game in about 10 seconds. Once again, thank you for joining us. My name is Mont. With me is NY John. We talked about the picks and bans a little bit, but we are going to jump into the game here. And right now, both lineups pretty interesting. I think Evil Geniuses lineup's a little bit more conventional, as you see, of course, Team Liquid going for that Mirana, and of course, it is going to be Fluff who's playing a support Naga Siren. And how do you feel about the support Naga Siren right now, John?
I think support Naga Siren is something that it's really hit or miss. We saw the other day DK was running a support Naga Siren with Weapon X, and he just got nothing. And when you fall behind as a support Naga, then when you get to later stages of the game, you're just fodder, really. You get eaten up by damage that's AoE, even looking at Illuminate and stuff like that. That's going to be play from EG. So it's really important that Naga Siren is a part of these kills, gets assists up, is able to at least get some health and be able to stand throughout longer team fights, so you get to maximize her utility, because the minus armor is going to be tremendous for helping out Mirana and Anti-Mage. And of course, Net is one of the best abilities available for her, so she does have really big upside. It's just difficult to get there, and especially in an aggressive tri lane, they're going to be really relying on this tri lane going well for them if they want to have success in this early to mid game stage, because of the fact that there's a lot more substantial, well, not substantial, but a lot of carries on the side of EG between the Dragon Knight and the Alchemist that scale better and are more effective earlier than Mirana will be, and a support Naga Siren will be, obviously.
Right, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye on here. And looks like it's going to be an aggressive tri lane coming out from EG with Fear here up in that Alchemist with that Bane set, essentially. From Batman. Beat is going to be on the Keeper of the Light there. Bambo going to be on the Rubik as well. So it's going to be tri-lane versus tri-lane, which is a good way to start off a best-of-5 series. You want to see as much action as possible, and really that's going to be happening here. You can see Korok roaming on through up here in the top lane. You can see he's going to be getting the farm for the most part in this lane. Ix, Mike, and Fluff going to be trying to help him out here. They've got that Riptide going for Fluff early on, which gives you that armor reduction, gives you some damage as well on top of that right now. It looks like Bambo and Beat, they kind of want to ward here. Disruption's going early on already, but I want to be aggressive. Arrow's going to hit. Beat is in some trouble right now. Nice stud coming out, but it doesn't matter. First Blood's going to go for Korok, and it's just that easy with the arrow, with the disruption, and Beat is already paying with his life here. And we mentioned earlier, EG, they're 19-0 right now, and not off to a good start here in this first game in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, that's exactly what that tri-lane needs. It needs kills and needs to get them often. I think EG were trying to dodge the tri-lane by bringing it top, but they ended up having good rotation on the side of Liquid, and now Alchemist is set up middle. He's actually going to roam in here. Yeah,
but Fluff sees him the entire way through. There's going to be the stun going. The Unstable Concoction is going to hit on Bulba. He doesn't have Spike Carapace, but they're really out of position right now. You can see Fluff and Ix Mike are roaming on through as well, and making sure Bulba is safe for the time being. So Alchemist is going to roam bottom here. You can see that Demon's going to be here for a moment or two. But yeah, I think you were right. They were trying to dodge that tri-lane. Didn't really work out for them in the end. So Liquid playing pretty effectively already. Everybody's roaming now. They're kind of doing the musical chairs here of lanes. So the musical lanes are starting to pile up, as you can see. You're seeing Beat is roam down there as well. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Bambo's got to stay here just to take a few right clicks while the rest of his team gets into position. Bambo, wow, narrowly dodging that arrow there coming out from Korok, but he's still trying to do some right click damage. Bambo being very, very, very aggressive. Actually, Korok, being aggressive. Bambo trying to be as defensive as possible, but now down here in the bottom lane, TC is with, of course, Fear and Demon up against him, so he does have support from Fluff and Ix Mike, but yeah, these rotations, I think that we'll see Demon try to head up to the top lane in just a few moments here when he can buy TP, or he just might run himself up there with Surge, so...
Yeah, and it's really important that Mirana gets a swap down here as well whenever she can, because this tri-lane is not nearly as formidable with only the anti-mage in it. They need that Mirana so they can get the kills. But Fear is still really having a tough time finding farm. This whole swapping and movement thing has set EG back a decent amount early on here. And middle lane is a lane that EG are comfortable in, so they can take some liberties, because Dragon Knight should do well against the Nyx Assassin for the most part, but they really can't afford to have Alchemist pushed off of this wave and not getting his farm too long, because the other lane, once Darkseer and Anti-Mage are in a lane together, we've seen from time to time Anti-Mage really take over that lane. I think it favors Anti-Mage because he's able to get up Tranquil Boots and he isn't as affected by the harassment, but we'll see if they actually turn into that, or if they're just going to leave it as is and leave them raw on a solo top.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Mirana's not having too tough of a time right now. Bambo's taking a lot of right clicks. Korok only with 11 CS right now, but he's not too far behind. TC's leading the way with 16. You talked about, of course, against that Darkseer. Getting the Tranquil Boots, I think, is necessary for TC. He's got a lot of regen. He's got 2 sets of tangos at Salve. There's that last set of that first tango going there. But Fear, like you mentioned, he's not getting as much CS as he would like here. I mean, he's actually getting beaten by Rubik up in that top lane. So that's something that Fury needs to be able to, I guess, get a little bit more of a handle on here. And Fear's good at getting CS when there is CS to get, but right now it's just not going for him. This lane is too formidable, I think, coming out from the side of Liquid. TC is doing a nice job of CSing. Fluff, of course, and Shadow Demon doing a nice job of kind of being annoying and harassing. And Beatus is down here right now. They're going to use that Unstable Concoction. The wraparound gate coming on now. Ixmite cannot, of course, disrupt himself in time. There is going to be the kill with the Acid Spray and the right click from Fear. Nicely done. So Fear will pick up at least a little bit of gold with that kill and some experience on top of that. So Fear, that's going to help facilitate more farm here, and getting that kill on Ixmite is exactly what they needed to do. Fluff's going to roam, looking for that 4-minute rune down in the bottom lane, bottom rune spot, if you will. Impale's going, Jay's going to take that damage. This mid matchup definitely going the way right now. Of course, actually pretty even here. I was going to say going the way of Jayo, but it definitely is very even as of right now. Jayo's going to pick up the haste rune up in that top rune spot. That will give him rune control, and we will see actually TC rotate up top. And now Mirana's down bottom again. So that's exactly what you talked about, getting Korok down there in that bottom lane. They do decide to go ahead and change things up.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mistake not doing it sooner, because had Mirana been in that lane, there's no way they can engage like that and pick up a kill. So EG kind of get lucky there, and they get that kill, but now it's going to be much more difficult in this bottom lane because the arrow pressure is going to be available for Korok. In fact, it looks like they're going to go in Fear right off the get-go.
Yeah, Fear, he's trying to escape right now. Fluff, he's got that ensnare. There's going to be the stun coming out, the disruption as well. The arrow just going to miss. That timing not there, but the ensnare, Unstable Concoction. Ix might get some trouble. Starstorm's going to fall. Fear in some trouble. He'll fall. So they don't even need to hit the arrow combo. As long as they have that Starstorm with the Soul Catcher, it's enough damage there. I mean, you saw the Soul Catcher go out and just did so much damage, I believe. So nicely done coming out from the side of Liquid, despite not having the best initiation with Korok there.
Yeah, and that was a little bit mistake from Fear, because he shouldn't have been up that far in the lane. He knows Bambo isn't there. Bambo's used all of his mana to get last hits up top, which is going to actually be pretty nice, because he's going to be level 5 coming down to join this tri-lane, and I think that will put him just behind Mirana as the second highest level in the tri-lane. So that's going to be a little bit of an added bonus for them, the way that this situation evolved. But until he's down there, you really can't step that far up in the lane because of the potential threat in play. And now middle lane, we do see Dragon has picked up his level 6, so we're going to see this green dragon in play, and this is when he really is able to just take full control of this lane, bully out the Nyx pretty hard, and Nyx should really be looking to roam around the map soon for Bulba, because this lane isn't going to go favorably.
Bulba almost going down to that poison, the corrosive breath dot there. So that's very, 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 very bad. Meanwhile, Bambo, he's going to get hit up with that disruption. Korok throwing through. There's going to be, of course, that ensnare on the ground. But bam, Korok taking so much damage from that Unstable Concoction, as well as the right clicks from Beat as the Illuminate hitting. Ix might get some trouble. He'll pick up on the kill on Bambo before he goes down. And he will go down. And he'll give the kill to Fear. So a nice bit of trading going on. EG taking 2 kills. Liquid getting 1 in the end, but still very close game so far, despite, of course, Fear not getting the necessary farm that he might want to have. But at this point in time, that was a nice little play coming out from the side of EG.
Yeah, Evil Genius is doing their best to make sure that Liquid don't get the jump on them. But now Bulba's going to come down here with a response, and Fear looks like he's going to be in trouble.
Yep, there's the Medetta, the Impale as well. The Mana Burn's going to go. The Ensnare, there is that double damage for Fluff. He's going to throw the Unstable Concoction, the Riptide. Not going to happen. It will stun them, but it doesn't really matter. Fluff's going to grab that kill. Nicely done coming out from Team Liquid again. So the trading continues here in this game, and, well, right now you mentioned Bulba roaming, and that's exactly what he did. He roamed, he Vendetta'd, he got the kill, and now he's going to head back to the mid lane, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a strategy that Evil Geniuses are very familiar for on the side of Liquid, because they used to run this when Jayo was still in the carry. Just let your carry get farm, and Antimage is doing just that. He has 38 CS already, so he's having a tremendous time on the top lane. And as long as this bottom lane doesn't go to hell, as you see the initiate once again.
Disruption, the air is going to hit on Beatus, and Beatus, he is going to go down. The Shadow Poison will pick up the kill. Nicely done coming out from Mike, and that initiation is just so easy. But yeah, you talked about it, and you talked about also the style that they play, Liquid and EG, sort of very similar strategies they've got going, and how Jayo used to, of course, just farming that top lane. So TC's doing the same thing right now, getting some decent farm up there.
Yeah, as long as this lane just creates chaos and they don't lose too hard, they're going to be fine. But Korak gets caught off here.
Yep.
And
The Unstable Concoction, more trading going right now. The Illuminate is going to pick up the kill. So EG trading once again, still going, and they're just trading spaces here, and it's just that easy for them, I guess, on the side of EG, and just kill after kill after kill, and that's what happens when you have an aggressive tri-lane versus regular tri-lane. That facilitates getting kills all over the place. So early on and often, we're seeing deaths all over the board.
yeah, it's an exciting game so far. It's what you like to see. Bulba's going to try and jump on Jo here with team help.
Yeah, Fluff's coming in. Jo in some trouble right now. Of course, nice fortifications going to fly. The Vendetta, the Impale might go. The body blocks first. There's the Impale. TP rotation. Ix Mike is here. The Soul Catcher. Jo's very tanky. He's going to get the kill on the tower, but it doesn't matter. Bulba will pick up the kill, so somehow he will get the kill on the tower. I think that was just a little too long. Bambo. Oh, he does get hit by the arrow right now. The poison's going as well. The Starstorm. Bambo's going to fall. Nice arrow from Korak. Well done.
Amazing arrow. And the fact that Jo was still able to get that tower after you commit 3-4 heroes to come in and gank him, that's a little bit of a shame for Liquid, but nonetheless, these sequences are going well for them because they're getting a lot of hero kills, which is translating into a lot of experience. They have strong levels across the board. You can already see they have 8 on Mirana, 8 on Nyx, and 7 on Anti-Mage, so they're looking solid. And still, Alchemist can't come up to the wave to farm on the bottom lane, even though it's only Korak here right now, which is really bad for him because he needs to start getting that CS. I know he farms very fast with the Grievel's Greed, however, you can't delay it any further because of how well the Anti-Mage is doing.
Yeah, Fear is going to take a long time to really get back into this game. You mentioned the Grievel's Greed. He's only got 1 point into it right now because he went for the Unstable Concoction and Acid Spray build first. And you mentioned how it's just Korak down here right now, and it's just kind of instilling heart into the Fear of EG. You can see up in the top lane, TC is getting significant farm. He's got his Claymore going. Of course, he's just 2 pieces away from his Battle Fury now. That'll be coming soon, I believe. Meanwhile, Jo is getting some decent farm in the mid lane, as well as, of course, Demon with that Darkseeing. Darkseer is going to have his mech very soon, so at least they will have that going for them. And Fear can transition into maybe a treads into a Shadow Blade build, which will actually give him a little bit of damage and survivability in teamfights as well. Going to use that Unstable Concoction. TP coming out right now. They're trying to chase after Mike or Korak here. I don't think he's going to be able to find anybody. And in fact, Fear is going to stun himself. There's the Telekinesis beat. Is trying to throw something down. Starstorm's hitting. Korak taking a lot of damage. Nice leap. The Song of the Siren is going to go and just make sure they cannot use any more aggression there. And Fluff's going to back off with Ix Mike together. And a nice leap coming out from Korak to make sure that he lives. And he's actually coming around on the backside. He's got to be careful here. He's going to run into 2 members of the side of EG, including, of course, Demon. Korak, not sure what he's trying to accomplish here. Wants that kill on beat. His nice vacuum back, but it doesn't matter. Korak is, in fact, going to get the kill. Meanwhile, Bulba, Vendetta, the Impale maybe. Yes, Demon in some trouble now as well. 2 down on both sides here. Fluff on the run right now, as well as, of course, Bulba coming in with that Vendetta.
Yeah, and the key to that fight really was Bambo being level 6 already. Now he's level 7 as a result of that. Having the spell steal and being able to get off, I believe, a Starfall early on there, it really increases their damage output. So that little quirky situation that started out the game really benefited him on that support, but still a better fight for Liquid, as it's a 2-for-2 trade, I think, but they're able to take down some key characters there, key heroes. Mirana does drop, but Mirana's doing her job still. They're still allowing this Anti-Mage to farm. His farm is going super well. And my question now is, when do EG want to try and deal with this? We've seen so many teams, middle lane, Bulba almost get caught out here. He's going to survive, though. We've seen so many teams ignore an Anti-Mage.
Bambo is going to get hit up with that arrow right now. Fluff with the Riptide. Fear's going to come in the Demonic Purge. He's going to get stunned on Fluff there. And now Fear's in some trouble here. You can see getting chased after Demonic Purge, doing that damage right now. Jo is going to come in, however, he doesn't have his Elder Dragon form. Fluff thinking about going again, but it's not going to happen. So, once again, Liquid getting a nice little pick off there in that bottom lane. And this aggressive tri-lane is working wonders for them right now.
Yeah, it's doing exactly what it's intended for. So Liquid are executing very well. They picked a lot of aggressive heroes to round out their roster. I thought they were going to go more so into the team fight style that a lot of teams like to do around this Naga Siren. But the Naga Siren as support, there's not as much an emphasis on the hero. So this makes sense for them. And they are definitely amounting a small lead right now. You can see the gold's actually in favor of EG, but definitely the experience in favor of Liquid. And it feels like they have a little bit more presence across the map right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bulba's stalking Demon up in that top lane right now, looking for the Vendetta. The Impale is going to hit just in time right now. TC's going to look for the Mana Void in just a second. Nope, the Ensnare's going to go first right now. The Mech going to fly. There's the Mana Void. TC's going to pick up an easy kill there. Nicely done coming out from Bulba. You mentioned the gold lead. I think that is coming because, of course, EG did take that middle tower. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, we do see some pings going the end. Illuminate is going to fly right now. Beat is going to do some damage. Korok in a bad position, as well as Ix Mike's nice disruption there. Maybe not going to save his life. There's going to be a nice arrow hitting. Bambo taking a lot of damage from that Starstorm, and it's doing some damage right now, but Bambo is not going to go down. Korok has to leap out of there, so Bambo grabbing the kill on Ix Mike with no help from Fluff, actually, who was in the mid lane while this was happening. So a lot of trading, a lot of fast and furious action here, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon, which is great. I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. 18 kills in 13 minutes is a pretty good rate. Another thing worth noting is that Mirana hasn't opted to pick up Moonlight Shadow. She's level 9, so she's going to wait on that. But I think Moonlight Shadow is a pretty valuable ability, maybe around level 8 usually, because of the fact that it's such low mana cost now, only 75 mana. So I'd really like to see him pick that up and try and make full use of that, because they already have the invisibility on Nyx Assassin. They can get some really good engages and continue to pick up some nice kills here and there. So we'll see if Korok decides to put a level in that soon, maybe one of his next levels. It is important for him to level up Leap too, because of course the cooldown is pretty outrageous initially on that ability, so he wants to get it up to a place where he's much more safe. And the bottom lane's pushing out now. Fear's going to try and apply pressure to this tower. They're probably going to have to back off here, though.
Yeah, there's the song going in from Fluff. He's going to catch at least one, going to catch two. You can see Fear, Bambo in some trouble right now. Bulba's going to Vendetta in. The song is going to get canceled. There's going to be the Demonic Purge. Fear getting recalled right now. Song was stolen from Bambo. He's using it just so they can get out of there. What a play from Bambo. So hard to steal that. He does get it off right now. TC's going to chase anyways. Nice telekinesis. Bambo Dota going through again. The arrow long range is going to hit Bambo from Korok. The Mana Burn and the Riptide. Fluff gets one anyways despite a negative set of circumstances. Now the Dragon Tail from Jo. There is no Elder Dragon form. Bulba has got to pop his, of course, his magic wand. He will survive for the time being. He's going to back out of there. Nice disruption from Ix Mike. Fear trying to get out of there now, realizing this fight is over. So somehow, Bambo, despite his best efforts, he still will go down. But what a steal.
Yeah, and that's a mistake on Fluff's half to not cover it, because Bambo took full advantage of that, and they would have had 3 kills probably if it weren't for that song coming out, because Liquid had set up everything and were ready to go. So really huge play from him, a good sacrifice. He goes down instead of letting the Alchemist and the Keeper of Light go down as well. And right now we're seeing Dragonite pick up he's going for his Shadow Blade, but he's not actually there yet. So Jo on the middle lane had probably the best opportunity to farm out of anyone on the side of EG so far, but his farm is good. It's not amazing. He's at 4,800. He's still below 3 other heroes in the game, so that's a little bit of a problem for them right now, because Fear doesn't have anything, and he's going to be working towards a Battle Fury, which is a really greedy build on Alchemist, but it's also an indication they want to take the game a little bit later. So they want to go late because of the rough start.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he is going to go for that Battle Fury. Some of you might be wondering, well, why not the Midas? I think that the Battle Fury is something that Fear likes a little bit more. Of course, he's been using it pretty effectively. Meanwhile, that is going to be an illusion up in that top lane that they use a lot of their abilities on. I think they used Mana Burn, the Arrow as well on top of that. No harm, no foul, not a big deal. So, but up here in the top lane, Demon's going to continue to farm. He has that mech available. We saw it actually in that last fight, I believe. Jo, like you said, not getting quite the farm that, you think he really should have gotten. Even getting that tower kill, he still only got shreds that Shadow Amulet. He's going to be close to the Shadow Blade at least, which is nice. Going that Shadow Blade, he'll be able to get, of course, that just mobility as well as just extra damage coming out on top of that. The Invis Rune, he'll pick that up. That'll give him a full bottle. And right now, looking at the graphs, while we've got a moment here before, I guess a little bit of a rest in the action. 2,000 experience going for Liquid right now, but the gold still is at about 1,000 lead for EG. So very even game so far, despite the trades. You mentioned the game going later. Fear absolutely can do so down in that bottom lane right now. A lot of pinks coming out. You can see Bulba stalking. Meanwhile, there is, of course, that Radiant Sentry. They see Bulba. They know he's there. They want to potentially turn on this. They're not going to. Yes, they've got 4 heroes here right now. The Illuminate's going to fly out, but that's going to be the end of the aggression coming out from both sides. So I mentioned an even game. I want to look at the items as well on top of that. TC finished up his Battle Fury at about 15 minutes of really standard timing. Not bad, not good. I'd say pretty, acceptable, is the term I would look for there from TC, especially with all of that lane switching early on. So he's actually going to head up top looking for Demon now in the top lane. As you see, Korok is here. He's going to have to try to hit an arrow. It's long range, not going to hit anything close to, of course, Demon there, but I think that was just going to give him some vision. Demon is going to come up right now and look for this top tier 1 tower. Fortification not available. Vacuum coming out from Demon. They pretty much abandoned this lane right now. They're going to let Demon take this tower too.
Yeah, and on the bottom lane, when that gank failed, the Vendetta is now in the hands of Bambo, so they might look to make a play with this pretty soon. They did have an Invis rune on Jo as well, but they couldn't find anyone out, and they don't want to overextend because they really can't afford to trade any longer. Bulba's going to go on Jo instead.
Speaking of overextending, Jo right now in some bad trouble here. Korok's going to get telekinesis right now. Korok might actually be in some trouble. Bambo doing a lot of that damage. Mana Void's going to grab the kill from TC. Moonlight Shadow going. Bambo, did he already use it? He actually already used Vendetta and stole Starstorm instead. The Impale's going to go. Bulba's going to grab another kill. And Liquid, you just talked about overextending. EG a little too far on the side of the map of Liquid here. Despite not having that tier 1 tower, they don't really care. They had the vision. They had what they needed. Battle Fury is done, by the way.
Bottom lane, the courier.
Fluff.
It gets
grabbing
netted.
the courier. Oh, 1 hit away. No, it's going to get juked through the trees. Somehow Fluff unable to get the courier there. Nice try. And that would have been just a little icing on the cake, I suppose, but not going to happen.
Yeah, he netted it and almost got the kill on it. That would have been horrible for EG because they're already down 7 kills. Losing a courier, which is pretty much tower gold, would be devastating as well. But they do have 2 towers, so there is a bright side. Bambo's coming up top. He's going to join Demon. They're going to try and create a 2-man gank squad. But there's a lot of people from Liquid in this dire jungle,
Yeah,
so
you're
they can get turned around on quickly.
Yeah. And TC's going to blink out of there. IX Mike was thinking on going them from around the backside. He's going to throw up that lane ward first. IX Mike looking for a potential disruption on Demon. There it goes. The Soul Catcher's going to hit. Easy Soul Catcher for him to hit as well. Demon going to try to go. There's the Demonic Purge. Nicely done from Mike. But the wall going to do some damage right now. And there's the blink out. Starstorm's going to fall. Bulba's going to grab the kill. Nicely done. Getting 2 there. IX Mike getting the other, of course, on the side of Demon. And Liquid, they're firing on all cylinders right now. Meanwhile, in that bottom lane, Fluff might be in some trouble. The Illuminate's going to go. Song of the Siren. He realizes he's in trouble. He's going to have to TP out right now. And he's going to just make it in time. And there's that song being so damn annoying. You can't do anything about it. It's just, well, we're going to set up a gank. Nope. No, you're not. I'm going to just song and leave you guys. See you later. So,
Yeah, they had to try and chain their abilities really effectively, but Fluff was on top of it, and they couldn't get the concoction off there. So Alchemist still manages to finish up his Battle Fury. So despite a horrible start, where they had to rotate lanes and really fell behind, Fear still got his gold, one way or another. He does have 2 kills. He's also been a part of 4 assists. So that kind of chaos in the bottom lane did benefit him in some regards, and now he's going to have to start really stacking up these creep camps and going at them. He also leveled 4 levels in Greevil's Greed, which definitely doesn't hurt when you're trying to farm hard.
yeah.
And Jo is just getting his Shadow Blade flown out to him in a moment, so that's going to be in play for them as well. So they're kind of fortifying a little bit here. They're starting to look a little bit more solid. EG, this is probably the first time in the game where they're not forced to constantly react to Liquid and their aggression, but Bulba on the top lane is going to look for Demon, but Demon wisely surging off.
Yeah, Demon should be okay right now. You mentioned, of course, just Fear farming away. He has that Battle Fury completed now. He's got the Grievel's Grade. We'll see what item he wants to go for next. Speaking of item progression, I'm actually interested in seeing how Korok's going to do his item progression. Sometimes you see the Diffusal Blade, maybe even a Maelstrom into Mjolnir. What are you thinking for Korok in that Mirana right now?
Mirana's a tricky one. A lot of people like to get the Yasha first because it's cost effective. It gives you the extra attack speed and movement speed, but then not turn the early as Demon's getting ganked in the top lane.
Yeah, Demon. He's going to mech up right now. Some TP rotations coming in. There's the wall coming in as well. The Breathe Fire going in as well. Korok trying to do some damage to that Starstorm. Nice arrow stolen from Bambo. Korok in some trouble. Korok is going to fall. Excellent arrow from Bambo. And just Bambo's been playing out of his mind this game, I've got to say, with the steals that he's gotten. He's died a few times. He's gotten 6 deaths, but he's also facilitated a lot of great ganks. Meanwhile, there's the Dragon Tail on IX Mike. He's going to disrupt himself. No! Bambo gets the kill with the Fade Bolt, and I was just talking about how well he was playing, and there it is again.
Yeah, that was amazing. And Bambo has already stolen 3 of Liquid's ultimates, which is pretty outrageous to think of, considering they're not the easiest abilities to get either. But that was definitely too deep of a dive for Liquid, and they're starting to squander that early advantage they found. EG are doing a good job of playing conservative, but in the middle lane, TC will get a tower kill. But in the same regard, Liquid can't just play lackadaisical. They can't really afford to let them back in because of the fact that Alchemist farms so quickly. And Antimage has opted to pick up that Vlad's, which a lot of players are doing now, and I think that really is a good build. That extra armor against something like Acid Spray cancels it out to a certain extent. In fact, it cancels it out until it's level 6, because it's +5 armor, and level 6 Acid Spray does do 6 minus armor. So that's a really effective countermeasure for that ability.
Yeah, and especially if they decide to get up an AC on the side of Fear, which, you wouldn't be surprised to see. That's really one of the items that Fear likes to go for. It gives you that increased attack speed, the armor reduction as well on top of that, the acid spray, which you mentioned. I definitely like the Vlad's pickup coming out from the side of Liquid. I think that's almost necessary to have. So, looking at it as it stands right now, EG's not in a terrible position. They're down 5,000 experience. You can see it was actually worse before. But they are ahead in terms of gold by about 500, which is negligible at best. I mean, that's really nothing at this point in the game. But Liquid is looking for another Tier 1 tower down in this bottom lane. They might be able to find it as well. TC, we'll see what his next item is going to be. And speaking of the Vlads, I think I just saw, Alchemist actually did pick up the plate mail, so that is going to be the next item, or not the Vlads, the Assault Cuirass is going to be the next item for Fear. So that's going to be really nice for him to get there.
Yeah, I spoke about in the early game, or even in the drafting stage, that Mirana just doesn't have a lot of damage. Everybody knows that about Mirana. It's pretty infuriating, actually. And having that extra armor up against her is really going to mitigate her usefulness. And as such, we'll maybe see Korok go for something like Desolator. I know we started to talk about itemization before. Desolator is an option he goes for time to time on the hero because it definitely helps her compensate for that lack of damage pretty effectively. But she also needs so much, like a BKB to stay alive. BKB blocks pretty much everything from EG's side, so it would be a really crucial ability. But where do you draw the line between damage and defensiveness? I don't know. It's tough. There's a smoke gang from both teams.
Dual smoke ganks right now. They're just passing by each other like ships in the night, and they're going to look for a wraparound here from Bulba. They might just hit into one each other. Maybe Fear's up in that top lane right now, but you see the entire team is here for EG. TC's not near this fight. Korok's going to get caught out first. You can see Elder Dragon Form's going to go in the wall. Big vacuum from Demon. Nice Song of the Siren. They're going to set everything up right now, and this is exactly what they wanted to do. TC's coming in here through the backside. Impale, big one. Arrow's going to fly as well. Bambo going to go down. Double kill for TC. Jo shadow blading away right now. Meanwhile, looking for more. Demon escaping as well as Fear. They're on the backside. Now Jo looking for more. Fluff looking for that ensnare, not going to have it, but the Impale coming from the blink from Bulba. They do a nice job. They clean it up. They've gotten 3 kills here in this fight. Nicely done from Liquid. I believe that was a blink. Yeah, that's a blink dagger on Bulba, so nice job there to get that going, and they get 3 kills in a big fight using that Song of the Siren. And you talked about how they don't really have too much AoE here in these fights, and it looks like they don't really need it as long as they're hitting the Impales and getting the damage from TC.
Yeah, but Evil Geniuses really shouldn't have been there, honestly. They're all the way in the dire jungle. Their vision is pretty limited. You know that the song is going to be a factor. If they want to have a good team fight, they kind of need to figure out a way around the song, whether it's focusing down this Naga early, which is going to be rather difficult, but you definitely can't just get caught off like that because then they pick and choose who they want to kill, and Rubik's been having such an effective game. They picked him off first in the bottom lane. Bubble goes on top of Fear, but there's no threat of a kill here unless help comes in, and it won't. But as I was saying, it really hinders their team fight capabilities, and they need to play a little bit more conservatively, which is what they were doing so well for a while. That got them back in the game. I like the idea of smoke ganking, but it's just really tough to do against the Naga when you know Song is available.
Yeah, absolutely. But some good things to look about for EG. They do have a gem on Demon. They've got the Assault Cuirass on Fear, so they're starting to get to a point here where they're not going to be too afraid to fight anymore. However, the problem being, TC is 17. He's 3 levels ahead of Fear, and that is a pretty wide margin in terms of levels and experience right now. So there is that. The Manta Style is completed, by the way, for, of course, TC. It's a little bit later than usual because he went for the Vlads, which we talked about at length, ad nauseum, essentially. But Korok right now, he's also got 3,000 gold in the bank. I'm not really sure what he's going to build next. He's going to leap away. That Dragon Tail long range, not going to really do anything there, but that's kind of funny animation, I guess.
Yeah, quite the range. Of course, Mirana's jump doesn't disjoint anything, so it will connect if you get it off beforehand. But looking at some of the items, I mean, Fluff on this Naga, I talked about how important it is to get some farm up on him. It's 26 minutes in. He already has a mech. He has a Blade of Alacrity. He has a Bracer. He is difficult to cope with. I mean, sitting at 1,300 health, it's not the squishy Naga Siren like we saw in that DK game, where they just become cannon fodder at the end of the game for some of the bigger carries. So that was really important, and they did a good job of making sure he's been involved. He actually hasn't died yet. He's 2-0-9, which is a fantastic scoreline considering the amount of damage that can come out from Evil Geniuses.
In fact, both supports on the side of Liquid, now that you mention it, have not died yet. Bulba, the other one. Actually, Bulba's not really the support. Never mind. It's Mike who died 5 times. So forget what I'm saying. All right. Just made myself look like a fool. Ike's Mike, I'm sorry. You have 5 deaths to your name. You're not quite playing as well as Fluff is, apparently. And that's a lie, too. Mike's had some really great disruptions and demonic purges as well. So Looking at the lineups right now, though, we mentioned how I guess that TC's farming away. Fluff has got that mech, and right now, I guess Liquid's in the driver's seat. You'd say probably, right?
Yeah, I think Liquid's in the driver's seat, but I still think Evil Geniuses are looking pretty solid. It's going to come down to whether or not they can pick a couple people off. If they want to pick up BKBs, those could be crucial as well. They're doing another smoke gank here. It's not as deep as the last one. They're not in the middle of the dire jungle with limited vision. Instead, they're on the bottom lane. This is a safer area in general. They also place a ward that's going to try and block the Ancient stack, so I like that move. But the middle lane is being pushed out by Liquid, so it looks like, once again, EG are going to have to be the responders and react to Liquid's aggression as they're taking 2 tier 2s potentially here.
TC is actually going to be really aggressive and pick up a kill easily on Beatas with, of course, his Manta Style illusions going and jumping right on top of him. So that should easily be, I think, a tier 2 tower, if not 2 like you were talking about. We see Demon, we see, of course, JO roaming over there right now, but Liquid taking another tower. Quark's going to grab that one. Gem of Truth I actually picked up on the side of Shadow Demon. Mike's going to grab that one. Now they're going to look for this next tier 2 like I talked about, and then there would only be 1 tier 2 left on the map here. And it's starting to get, I guess, too close for the side of EG. Bambo getting initiated on. He just gets blown up by TC. Nagasara now getting that tower. They're going to look for another tower. There's a nice vacuum coming in. Bulba's going to throw up his Spike Carapace and make sure he avoids that damage. Jo going to go ahead and just try to maybe initiate on TC with that Breathe Fire. Not going to do a whole lot. Lincoln Sphere is done for the Mirana, so he wants to go for that defensive item. Bulba blinking in, looking for an Impale. Not going to find one, so we're kind of getting ready here. Fear is still up in that bottom lane right now. He's actually, I think, getting recalled as we speak. I'm not 100% sure. No, I thought I heard the animation going for it. I guess not, so I spoke too soon there. And yeah, they're going to just maybe try to go for this. The wall is down, by the way, so now they're going to maybe think about pushing into the base here. TC has that Aegis, and there's no reason not to fight. I mean, they will lose the tier 2 tower, but they're not reacting to it. So now, Drum's going to be popped here, looking for this tower right now, and Jo might get initiated. There's the Blink, the Ensnare as well, the Impale. Jo getting hit up with pretty much everything, the Starstorm, but a big vacuum, a big unstable concoction. Here goes Fear to town on 3. Demon getting a double kill with the Iron Shell on top of Fear. So much damage from that cleave. TC has to blink out of there. The Aegis being used. An absolutely outstanding fight from EG. They're looking to chase now. They're looking for more. Jo's out of his, of course, dragon form. He's looking for Ice Mike. He's going to find the Dragon Tail. The unstable concoction. They're going to pick up 3 in the end. And wow, what a vacuum from Demon. And that cleave damage from Fear just did so much work with the unstable concoction connecting as well.
Yeah, that was an amazing team fight for Evil Geniuses, and getting those kills straight up. Such a good team defense, and that's why you hear a lot of players and casters talk about trying to siege into a Darkseer is so difficult because of the vacuum. It's such an amazing defensive ability, and it entirely made that fight for them. The weird part was Fluff withheld that song for a while. He didn't cast it right off the get-go. I didn't see if he got disabled or something. I know he didn't get hit by the concoction or the vacuum because he was outside of the base, but he definitely could have tried to get that off a little bit sooner and salvaged there. But either way, really good team fight from Evil Geniuses. They end up getting a tower, but they still probably have to back up and play conservative because of the fact that Liquid are still really strong. We do finally see Alchemist surpass in terms of net worth the Anti-Mage's. Bambo's being chased over here.
Yeah, he actually, the Wildkin War Chief died for his sins, but he may end up dying in the end. He did steal that Spike Carapace. He's trying to get out the TP. He's probably not going to survive here. Yep, there's the Impale. Of course, the Ensnare on top of that. He will go down. So, Wildkin War Chief, that poor Wildkin, they pinged right there. The arrow actually went into the Wildkin while Bambo was trying to get out of there. And, well, poor Wildkin is all I got to say. Poor Bambo as well.
Poor Wildkin. Bambo shouldn't be there. Typical Bambo plays.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason he should be fighting Wildkins in the camp closest to the enemy base. So he kind of deserves to die in that instance, honestly.
Ouch. John with the real talk.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just things that EG shouldn't be doing right now because they are looking a lot better. We see Dragonite's working towards his BKB, which is going to be a huge pickup for him if he can get that into play. Alchemist already has his BKB. He now also picks up a Basher. So there's going to be an Abyssal coming out sooner or later, which is going to be amazing against Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage knows that will be in play. He also knows that there's a Sheep, but is still not opting to go for a BKB of his own. He goes for the Heart instead, which is interesting because Demon with that Sheep already, that's going to be a lot of lockdown he's going to have to try and cope with. And, of course, the key to beating an Anti-Mage is just locking him down as hard as you can. And that's exactly what EG are going to be able to do in these team fights.
Yeah. And speaking of lockdown, Boba looking for lockdown on Fear right now. Fear, he's going to be getting locked down by, of course, IX, Mike, and Boba at the same time. I don't know if they have enough damage here, especially with Chemical Rage. In fact, Fear's going to try to turn this around. There's the disruption, might save their lives for the moment here. They're sitting behind. The Mana Burn's going to fly. The Unstable Concoction going to get Bulba hitting, but a Spike Carapace is going to fly, so that's actually going to do more damage to Fear than anything. But still, nice try coming out from Fear there. He had to really try to get for it. I mean, that's a kill that you really want to try to grab. At least 2 kills. I mean, if you can get both of those, that's a huge turnaround. But in the end, it's not going to happen. You can see the BKB is done for the Dragon Knight, which you talked about. Meanwhile, TC and Korok looking for Jo and Bambo. The arrow barely missing, of course. And Fluff is down here now, going to try to push this bottom lane with that Diffusal Blade done, by the way. That's a done Diffusal Blade for Naga Siren, who's been support pretty much this entire game.
Yeah, and that's another good thing to point out. Fluff all of a sudden can transition. I forget what game it was, but we saw a Gyrocopter. He was a support initially, and the game got so late that all of a sudden he became this kind of extra semi-carry on the side. That's the same thing that's going to happen with Naga Siren in this game. So EG want to take it later naturally because they had a bad start and they farm heavy on that Alchemist, but they can't really do so safely because Liquid have 2 heroes, not only the Naga Siren, but the Mirana, who once she starts piling on those items is a really effective late game semi carry, really, because she doesn't hard carry as well, but she's getting bigger and bigger. Now has the Yasha in her inventory as well, so starting to amount into something that can output a good amount of damage in these team fights. IX Mike's get caught here.
Yeah, there's the Elder Dragon form going for JR right now. Disruption not going to save his life. Just Fear will blow him up essentially, and now they're looking to fight more here. They're not going to run into any more dire heroes, as you can see. EG actually Korok just jumping ahead very aggressively right now. There's the Dragon Tail. Korok already using that leap right now. He's going to get vacuumed back. Korok in some trouble. He's going to take some more damage, but of course the 4-step forward coming out from Bulba not going to save his life. The Unstable Concoction is going to hit Bulba. Liquid's losing everybody right now. They're losing 3 heroes here, and Demon's on a killing spree right now. So EG, but they will have to TP down to the bottom lane. Of course, TC trying to push into that. There's going to be the Acid Spray, and Fear says, no, you really won't be able to take this Rax or Tier 3 without me being here. So they're looking for Tier 2. I believe they actually, that Tier 2 was already gone, so there's no reason for them to be pushing that. They can push into the Tier 3 if they'd like. And looks like Jayo's going to try to do that and just push into this tower here. There's a fortification available for Liquid if they want it, which they'll probably pop it here in just a second right now, but
this is a really risky move because the song is still available, so they can try and set up, and Mike gets caught.
Yeah, there it goes. And Mike is still going to survive. Oh, wow. No, he got vacuumed in. Nicely done. Mike's going to buy back here, but the song being used. And now that song is on cooldown. TC trying to go into the base down to that bottom lane. But here's 3 heroes going to town from EG. Anti-Mage going to take that one down there, and he's actually going to get out right now with that blink. And Jayo has to make that maneuver down to that bottom lane just to stop TC from pressuring the base now. So they'll trade a Tier 3 for a Tier 3 in the end. They'll get the kill on IX Mike as well, so it does go in EG's favor a little bit, but you really hate to see TC grabbing that kill on that Tier 3 if you're on EG's side.
Yeah, TC with the damage control a little bit there, and it turns into a pretty equal trade, but Evil Genius is able to pounce upon the fact that Liquid were not there as a whole group. So I talked about how effective Liquid are if they can get that song off. In that instance, of course, Naga wasn't a part of that fight, so not having that really benefits Evil Geniuses, and Liquid are going to have to probably start sticking together a little bit more. I'd still expect TC to go off on his own because he is the anti-mage and he can continue to farm and put off pressure like he was doing in the bottom lane. But the other 4 heroes really should be together at most times, just because you don't want to allow Evil Geniuses to get those picks that they can transition into greater things. And there's the Roche Aegis going to Anti-Mage, arrow flying.
And now here we're going to see a big fight. Jayo using that BKB, disruption from Mike. The Unstable Concoction get a hit on IX Mike there. Bulba trying to get away. Moonlight Shadow's going. TC getting locked down the wall. The vacuum, you can see TC taking a lot of damage. And that Abyssal is going to go. There it goes from TC, or from Fear onto TC. The Aegis being used right now. TC's going to be up in a moment. Will they fight? This is the question. They have Song, I believe. No. It's on cooldown for 24 seconds. Unstable can going on TC right now. Looking for Fluff is Fear. But nice disruption coming out from Mike. It's not going to matter. Another kill going the way of EG. Looking for TC. TC's going to have to blink ahead, and he will do so. Fear, he's got Unstable in 1 second, but TC's going to be okay. There's the illusions coming out from the side of Liquid and Fluff. But a nice fight from EG. They immediately waste that Aegis, and they lose nobody. So they get a big win in that fight there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I talked about before. Anti-Mage not going for the BKB. So easy to lock down. Look at the abilities on Evil Geniuses. Dragon Tail is going to stun him for, what, 3 seconds? Well, 2.75 now, because he hasn't leveled it the whole way. Then you chain it up with a Concoction, a Sheep, Telekinesis. It just seems like it's a necessary BKB game for that Anti-Mage, and TC wasn't able to do anything in that last fight because he didn't have it, and ended up losing that Aegis, which is really a shame because Liquid just got it. And now you can see that fight also, it went so poorly because there was no song. They had used the song in the base defense previously, and therefore they didn't have their initiation tool. And that's really the only initiation they have. They can follow up an arrow, maybe. They can throw Bulba into the middle with a spike carapace, maybe. But the best tool by far is going to be that song, and not having it for any of these big team fights is going to set them back.
Yeah, and you know what is a big deal that I just noticed is that Fluff is only level 15 right now, so he doesn't even have level 3 song, which gives you that 60-second cooldown. 120 seconds is a big difference between 60 seconds. Obviously, it's a minute difference. So that's something really that you have to keep in mind. However, Fluff is going to be able to mitigate that by just farming to 16 with this next wave, I believe. And that'll get him that level 3 song, which is going to be so nice to have because it's going to be available for pretty much every fight, every defense, whatever you want. So you'll have to keep that in mind as EG's heading back to their base. They don't want to get caught out. Korok using that Moonlight Shadow, trying to be aggressive with that Yashi. Maybe picking off a courier beat is not going to happen. However, as everyone in EG gets back, realizing that maybe now is the time to defend as all of the lanes are kind of pushed out. I guess you could say top and mid, not really, but you can see they are pushing mid out right now with Bulba, IX Mike, and of course Fluff here. So
yeah, and now that Abyssal's up on Alchemist as well, so they're really looking solid on the side of Evil Geniuses. They still have to be careful where they try and pick their fights, but those last couple of sequences have been looking good for them. I don't know, if you're Liquid right now, you really just gave them an opportunity to come back into the game. Anti-Mage is building towards an Abyssal as well, it looks like, but they need to find a way to get off their perfect team fight, and Evil Geniuses, they need to be ready for that opportunity as well, because with the Moonlight Shadow, which was just used, when that comes off cooldown again, they might try and initiate and pick a fight. I don't know, the Aegis is not going to come back for still 6 minutes, so there's a long time before the next Roche. Both teams could play conservatively, potentially. We talked about the fallback carries they do have. Dragon Knight, now that he's level 16, he's kind of capped out in terms of how effective he's going to be for your team.
Well, he's got the Chrysalis.
As... Yeah, it's okay, but he just isn't really a late game carry, in my mind. I guess if you can supplement him with tons of farm, then yeah, he can be something, but I think Liquid probably have better fallback carries, so I'm not sure if they want to try and take it late. They've played aggressive all game so far, so what's the change now? As we do see the smoke gang coming up here, they're trying to bait hard, but that was a really obvious bait from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to make that mistake, and Fluff is actually pushing out that bottom lane. It means that Fear has to TP back home right now, which means that there's only 4 heroes for EG. I want to point out something important that I noticed throughout this game, and it might be people joining, of course, the in-game viewer, as of course Bambo's going to get caught out right now. He's going to force staff himself and blink away as he stole the blink from the anti-mage, which should save his life, potentially, theoretically. I'm not sure. Bambo trying to get out of here as quickly as possible, but nope, he's going to get locked down with the first hit back from TC. Unlucky. A nice play from Bambo, but in the end it doesn't work out. But I did want to point something out, and this just might be a byproduct for more people joining the game, in-game client TV viewing, Dota TV that is. It was, Liquid had about 400 some odd pennants up, and EG had about 200. Now, my theory is that if you're a Liquid fan, you probably also have an EG pennant as well. That's just my theory. So people might have switched. Not sure if that's true or not, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Not to call anybody a bandwagon fan, depending on who's winning in the game or not, but
well,
it's just funny that
it's legit because you get better opportunity for items.
That's right, exactly.
Big push coming out here, both lanes for Liquid, so they're not going to play passively. They're going to be the aggressors once again.
I like that. I like that play coming out from Liquid. I like the split pushing. They're not going to do it too much where they're in a point where they're kind of just shooting themselves in the foot. As you can see right now, they're backing off. They're making sure they have the map control right now. I mean, Roche isn't up, like you said, for another 5 minutes, so there still is that going for them. But I want to remind everybody real quick, this is game number 1 in a best-of-5 series, so I mean, you can't ask for a better game to start the series, I think, right now. It's just been absolutely back and forth. I don't think there's really been any true lead here in this game. You can think about it all you want, but really in the end, it's still a close game. And I got to say, that team fight right around here, with Fear getting that huge vacuum from Demon and cleaving everybody down, I think that's really when I started to notice that this game could go either way.
Yeah, well, but we all know Alchemist and what he can do in later stages of the game, and that's where we are at now. It's kind of a miracle that they got to this point, considering how poorly the laning went initially, but nonetheless, they're able to accomplish it. TC's going to engage.
Yeah, TC looking for some initiation right now. BKB's going to go. TC's hexed up, by the way. There's the wall. Nice disruption from Ike's Mike once again. Song of the Siren coming in. Jo. BKB still going. Unstable Concoction. Going to hit on the illusions right now. Fear might use that on, of course, Chemical Rage, but they actually are going to back off, so they make them use the wall. and just straight up back there, using that Moonlight Shadow as well. So TC being a little aggressive. He did use the Abyssal Blade, wasn't able to grab a kill there. So nice try coming out from TC, nice try coming out from EG, but in the end, no harm, no foul, no one will fall. Everyone's living. It's on a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day for both teams here.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, this is the sad part about Anti-Mage picking up that early Vlad. Since we made it to such a late game stage, he might have to sell it, and then they lose that extra little armor. But I guess if he replaces it with something like an AC, it's definitely an upgrade nonetheless. But he's at that point where he's almost maxed out inventory, which is going to be huge for him. And also, with Roche coming up in 3 minutes, they can try and get that Aegis. They still have so much map control, and this is a lot of the reason is going to be because of the invisibility on the team. I mean, Moonlight Shadow and the Vendetta are two things that you do not want to get caught out by ever. I just don't let them get the jump. And the song was popped in that last fight, so we'll see if Liquid could find a good fight off the back end of it, but it's already back, it looks like, because it's on the level 16 cooldown. So it's going to be in play here as well, and they're going to go straight for Rax.
Yeah, these Rax is already taking some damage. Jo doesn't have that Elder Dragon form for another 33 seconds. They don't really want to fight here, as you can see, but it looks like they might have to. Fear's going to throw that Unstable Concussion. He's going to hit TC, and they'll push this back, but you can already see the melee Rax taking a lot of damage just from the AM illusions. They will counter ward here very quickly, as they have that Gem of True Sight up, I believe, on Demon. Yes, still on Demon. So now they're going to try to go again here. Liquid looking for another push into this Rax, and this could be dangerous here. There's no Aegis available. Fear's going to come in and, of course, use that Unstable Concoction on TC. Nice disruption from IX Mike, and now there's the, of course, Demonic Purge going. And, of course, they're going to just kite this away and run away here, realizing that they're in not the best position. They're going to Moonlight Shadow and walk out of there. Now turn around, maybe think about counter-initiating, and they will get the Tier 3 tower mid just from, I believe, the Naga Siren Illusions on its own. So nicely done coming out from Liquid there. And now they're going to try to pressure again. Arrow's going to fly. It's going to hit on Beatas. Beatas in some trouble. Beatas should fall here. Yes. Nice wall. Nice vacuum again coming out from Demon. The splash damage here from Jo. Doing work on Mike. Doing work on Bulba. Doing a lot of work in general. Fluff. TC's going to back off. Fluff in some trouble. Fluff. He's got to use that song. Bambo getting a double kill there with the Fable. You can see. Nice job. Bambo backing up now. There's the stun onto TC. That's the 3-second stun from the Dragon Tail. They'll have to back off. Fluff. He's going to back off as well. And in the end, it's another good fight for EG, although Beatas does go down. They don't lose. They did actually lose that melee Rax. I didn't just notice that now. It did fall, so that is kind of unfortunate.
The Rax. Korok wasn't a part of the fight. He just only focused on the Rax, and that's an amazing result for them. So it really is a good team fight for Liquid. They do sacrifice a couple of supports, but definitely worthwhile. And they also, if they had chased any further there, they would have lost the middle melee Rax too, because there are illusions on that. And Korok could have rotated over. But now Evil Geniuses realize this is kind of desperate times. They need to try and press here, but Roche is up in 1 minute. So if they force a fight and it doesn't go well, then they're putting themselves in a really big predicament. So this looks like it's going to be essential all in, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And Fear actually is going to pick up a butterfly. It's going to fly to him in just a moment from that courier. Bambo blinking in. Telekinesis onto TC right now. Jo with the stun potentially. No, not going to happen. Unstable Concoction going from Fear. Butterflies up on him right now. Is he going to throw it? He needs to throw it now. TC's going to get hit up by it. Fear, there's the BKB. Using that impale timing excessively well. Fear getting locked down with that ensnare right now. Still locked down. That ensnare just so long, but he's all right. Purge is going to go mech up on him again. He's thinking about backing off. Jo's got Dragon Form in 20 seconds, but he is going to get impaled. Jo is in some trouble. Nice force staff backwards. The Unstable Concoction now. Moonlight Shadow. Meanwhile, TC going in. He gets sheeped up. TC in some trouble. That ensnare again. The wall, the vacuum. It doesn't do as much. The Song of the Siren. Jo, he's so low right now. He's going to pop it again. TC with the Abyssal Blade. Fear is going to get hit up by that, but it doesn't matter. Looks like everything's still going the way of Liquid right now. Jo going down, and IX Mike on the side of Team Liquid. Fear getting ensnared again. Another ensnare, and he can't do anything right now. Bambo steals it, but Fear is going to die. TC picking up a kill. He's got a monster kill right now. The engagement's still going now, looking for the side of Beatas, who's going to get purged with, of course, Fluff's Diffusal Blade, and he'll get a double kill right now. And with that all in, like you mentioned, everybody's down for 73 seconds. Now they're going to push in. I don't even know if they care about Roche at this point. It looks like they do. TC's going to go straight into that Roche pit and just take him down real quick.
Yeah, and that's probably going to spell doom for Evil Geniuses, honestly, here, because now there's going to be an Aegis. I think Cheese is on it too. Yes, Cheese is on it. So they're going to have an Aegis on probably the Anti-Mage, Cheese on Korok maybe. If Anti-Mage wants to sell the Vlad, so he wants to part ways with the Vlads, which is an amazing item. But it looks like he's not. They're going to give both to Mirana. So this is now a Mirana that's not dying anytime soon, unless he messes up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, with a butterfly, so...
Yeah, add that too. Alchemist also has a butterfly. I noticed that in the last fight. But I mean, that team fight, you said it the entire time. The nets were just too much. The ensnares coming out from Nagasaran. And then Demonic Purge on top of that. There's no room for mobility from Alchemist. He can't get around there and find his target he wants to chop. Instead, he's stuck in place and rendered useless.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it looks like TC's going to go for these racks here. I mean, the Ensnared Champion is clearly fluffing stuff, just making sure that Alchemist is locked down every point in that fight. It's just so annoying to deal with. They're going to take 2 sets of racks right now, looking for a third. Alchemist is going to be alive right now, but no fortification. Can they really fight into this with the amount of items they've got? They're going to back off right now. Jayo looking to initiate. There's Bulba with that Spike Carapace. There's going to be a BKB from Demon now. Everybody backing off from Liquid here. Still, Illusions in. Unstable Concoction's going to stun Fear for the moment right now. Ensnare maybe going. Oh, TC wants to blink in there. Nice vacuum again with that wall. Korok using that Aegis right now. TC getting 4 staff downwards, and now Fear wants to come around from the other side. And there's going to be the Song of the Siren going once again, and this time hitting on Jayo, who does not have that BKB, hitting on Demon. You can see blink forward from Bambo right now going. Now Fear wants to go on TC. TC might be in some trouble here. That A-Blade. Nice disruption from Mike. Again, Jayo trying to do some damage. He's taking some more damage here. TC's going to pick up that kill. No, Alex Mike. No, another vacuum coming in. And Fear just trying to go to town. He will pick up TC. TC's going to buy back. Leap forward from the Ronda. Get back out of there. And everybody's buying back. Now Song of the Siren. It was stolen by Bambo once again. Fluff. They realize they can't do anything there. They're going to go on Bulba. Double kill going for Fear right now. And they will defend. But of course, TC, he bought, of course, Boots of Travel. He was going for that Rax down there in that top lane. Now Bambo getting initiated on. He's going to blink away. The leap forward from Korok. The 4 staff not going to save himself. Korok will grab that kill. Axmite getting one on the side of Jayo, and this spells doom. I think like you said, now Fear is the only one really that can really pump out the damage here. Of course, besides Demon with that Iron Shell, he's got no wall up though, which is the big deal for 34 seconds. And
Fear
it looks like
bots. He's going to try and backdoor this, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. He spent all of his money already, and now they're just going to throw it on TC, but he's realizing that there's not much they can do.
A-Blade going. Nice Hex, though. Fear taking some damage. Nice vacuum again, but actually not really doing a whole lot there. TC looking for Fear. Fear looking for TC. Man mode fight right now going Fear and TC. One-on-one, mano-a-mano. The Song of the Siren. TC barely escaping. Fluff coming in with the Song of the Siren. They're going to try to get out of here. They will do so. Actually, it was the 2v1 fight, kind of. I'd say there was the Iron Shell as well on top of that, so really not a man fight. But Fear getting stunned, Korok doing some damage to him. Now the Starstorm. Fear might actually go down, and he will. Korok picking up a huge kill now. He's got no buyback, and now they're just going to TP back or just roam down through the mid lane and look for the end of this game here. But still not over yet. Jayo's going to be up in just a couple of seconds too, and what a strange ending to this game so far.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, but with Fear going down there, that really is a bad situation for Evil Geniuses. But EG playing a pretty strong game. Just Liquid have really found good team fights for the most part. Korok gets caught out here.
Yeah, the courier went down. Korok probably will die here. And yep, he will in fact go down. But now Fluff coming through from the mid lane as well as Bulba. Here comes TC as well with his illusions. He did sell the Vlads. He's got the Boots of Travel. Buying back is going to be Korok, so he is available right now. Bambo taking some damage. Initiation. Bulba getting the kill with the Mana Burn now. Of course, the Hex up on Jayo. He's going to get 4 step forward there. Impale's going to go. Doesn't matter. Jayo BKBing right now. The stun, the Dragon Tail, long range there. Song of the Siren. And of course, that BKB timer, it's only at 4 seconds for Jayo. He really can't do a lot here. The Impale's going to fly. Beatus is going to go down here next. GG is going to be called as the wall is on the ground. And TC is going to town on the well. But what a good first game to start this series off, ladies and gentlemen. It's been so fun. Oh, John, what can you say, man?
I can say that Liquid picked a couple hit-or-miss heroes. I mean, obviously Mirana's one of them, and a support Naga is as well. And they just hit, and they hit hard, and they really caught Evil Geniuses kind of in a pickle early on in the game, and were able to just build off that slowly to the point where their team fights were so strong that Evil Geniuses had to try and find a way around it, but it's difficult to find a way around a song, really. So lots of props. I mean, honestly, that game, Fluff and Stuff, was a monster. As a support player, 5-1-14 on a support Naga. That's not easy at all. And then he was able to transition into this kind of damage dealer at the end that's able to use his illusions to siege the base from the low ground, along with the Mirana illusions. So it was really well played by Liquid overall. Evil Geniuses just came a little bit flat. I have to say, don't like to point out specific players, but Dragon Knight didn't feel that impactful in that game. And I wonder if maybe there was an opportunity for a different hero in the pool that could have went better for them. But I just feel like Jo is such a good player, but in that game in particular, we didn't get to see him at his best on the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We're going to have to see what lies in stores for us in game number 2, guys. Make sure you stick around. Check out AmericanDotaLeague.com for more American Dota info. Follow us at Twitter.com/AmericanDota. Once again, my name is Mott. If you enjoyed the cast, or if you didn't even enjoy it, if you want to provide some criticism or feedback, please post it in chat. You can follow us at Twitter.com/MottDota2. With me tonight is NY John. You can follow him on Twitter at Twitter.com/NYJohnTV. And we're going to jump into game number 2 in a second, guys, so stick around. We'll be right back.